Welcome to your optimal living moment. I am Coach Versandra, and for the next several weeks, we are going to delve deep into a topic that is related to how you and I can be affected by more healthy living based on the way that we live our lives on a daily basis. That's what optimal living is all about, living your absolute best self. But the topic that we will be touching on today and the next few weeks is depression and anxiety. Have you or someone in your family been affected by depression or anxiety? I can say for a fact that I have. And several of my followers on Facebook, Twitter, on Instagram, and on LinkedIn have reached out to me and they've asked me, why is it that you have been on this mission for the last 20 years? Why is it that you are so focused on teaching people how to live optimally? And I just had to say, I have some serious personal skin in the game. I do, because I was born in a mental institution 55 years ago. And what I know from that experience and the experiences that I lived throughout my life is that many people, in fact, I can give you some numbers in a little bit, have been affected by depression, anxiety, and other mental health challenges. But it is something that many people just refuse to talk about. They refuse to let their guard down, take off their mask, and just be real. So I am going to be sharing with you over the next few sessions about my personal experience with depression and anxiety, and I'm going to open up this forum because for healing to occur, you have to activate yourself in the healing process. So I'm asking you to join us as we take on this discussion that so many of us need to release and receive healing from. So I'm just going to be real here. I'm going to tell you why I became a holistic health practitioner. That is what the question is. And basically, the self-serving part of it all is that because of that, earlier part of my life, I was looking for answers. I was living in fear, wondering whether I was losing my mind or going crazy, if I was going to be like my mom and institutionalized and going through this whole life of trauma, the whole life of trying to identify who I was and who I was going to be and those type of things. I lived in great fear. I ended up going through counseling. I ended up finding out that, during the earlier times, it was just, hey, you have PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder. That ended up leading to me becoming homeless in my 30s. And even then, I still didn't know what was going on, but I had at that time decided that I was going to live a holistic lifestyle, mainly because what I found through research and looking at some other people who had also chosen this type of lifestyle, that it was best for me. It was going to allow me to have less stress. It was going to allow me to have tools that I can use on a regular basis to deal with those times when I was having panic attacks and couldn't breathe and just crying and going through all of that whole process. But then what I learned more is that it would give me peace. It would give me a daily practice, a daily spiritual practice, a daily physical practice that allowed me to use my body in a way that would allow me to be 55 years old and still looking fabulous. Yeah, I'm going to give it to myself. I feel amazing. So over these next few weeks, we're going to discuss just some of the things that plague the lives of people who suffer from depression. And we're going to also look at some of the specific ways depression out pictures in your life. But we're also going to talk about how you can live optimally, how you can thrive, and how you can be well even in the midst of having or accepting a diagnosis of depression. So let's just start off with my personal diagnosis. They called it, let's see, we're going to get some, it's called major depressive disorder. Now, these are some of the facts. It is the leading cause of disability in the United States of people aged 15 to 43 and a half. Nope, 44 and a third. I like to get real and have real numbers because some people are really deep into those technical things. Basically, if you're a teenager up to your mid 40s, it is very, very possible that you can experience this disability. Major depressive disorder affects more than 16.1 million Americans. Did you hear what I just said? 16.1 million Americans suffer from major depressive disorder, and 6.7% of the U.S. population age 18 and older experience major depressive disorder. This is deep. While major depressive disorder can develop at any age, the median age is 32 and a half. So when I looked at this, I'm like, well, why me? Why? And it says that it's more prevalent in women than men. And generally, one of the things that you're going to find with a person that experiences this is that they had some type of childhood trauma, specifically rape or other issues similar to that, major traumatic issues. So let me just take my, mask off and give you a little detail about my trauma, early childhood trauma. With my mom being mentally ill, she was also a drug abuser. And so as a little bitty kid running around, there were always these drug parties and that type of thing. And, we'd get up in the middle of the night sometimes and find syringes and things laying around, Those were visually traumatic things, but as a child, you didn't know what they really were. But then there was one particular situation where there was a confrontation at my mother's home. I believe I was about 9, maybe 10 years old. And during this time, the police were involved and they came to take my mom away because she harmed someone very greatly. And I could see now, as an adult, I can see myself and my sister in the back seat of the police car screaming and hollering, "Mommy, Mommy, don't take my mommy away." And we were crying, we were just screaming out because we were taken away from the reason why we were here on the earth today. We came out of this woman. And this was our mother. No matter what she did, it was our mother, and she was taken away. That was one of the first memories that I had of trauma that, as a child, no one would want their child to have to suffer from. But then there came to be several others. There were so many, some that came up that were even earlier than that I couldn't even face until I was 50 years old. But what I can tell you is that event, and the second primary event was seeing my mom coming into my grandmother's house after being beat, raped multiple times. She was gang raped. Again, she was mentally ill. She was a street smart woman, but she also was confronted by some major demons, and people took out some things on her because of her interactions, I would just say. And that was very traumatic. In fact, so much so that when my grandmother went to call the police, to come and get her because she was crazy. She was blood and clothes ripped off her and half naked. My sister and I, still little kids, maybe about 10, 11 around this time. My mother took the phone, grabbed it out of my grandmother's hand, and she beat her with it, out of anger, out of psychotic episode, out of all of that craziness. So there were incidences like that occurred throughout my childhood. And then we moved to another state and other things occurred. But those were the earliest memories. So when I think about severe depressive disorder or major depressive disorder, it comes from several layers of situations. It's not just one, it's multiple traumatic situations that occur, and without healing happening in the midst of that. So over the next few episodes, we're going to dig deeper, but I did want to explain one of the reasons why I am so deeply engaged in this process of healing through holistic therapies is because for me it's personal and it's about healing humanity. I told you that my situation landed me in a homeless shelter. I learned in that homeless experience that there were so many other women who had gone through even worse situations that I had experienced. And I want to be able to provide an avenue, resources, tools, tips that will assist anybody that's going through a major life transition, especially transitions related to depression and anxiety. Give them some relief. So today, before I leave, I must give you at least one tip. Know that the healing comes within your breath. So let's just take a moment and breathe. Let's just focus our intention and our attention on our inner self, our higher self, our divine self. Let's close our eyes to the outside world and go deep within, knowing that healing is there for us. Even in the worst situation, a breath, a deep cleansing breath. Can calm our fears, calm our emotions, bring us to a place of peace. So today, if you are experiencing depression or anxiety, just know that you are not alone. Know that there are individuals who have experienced or are experiencing similar situations, are sharing their answers, their solutions, their ways out of that experience. You are not alone. We are here for you. And you can find peace even in the midst of your storms. Know that God is with you. I am with you. So I look forward to seeing you throughout the next episodes, and I hope that you will like our social media pages, VKI Personal Development. And if you feel so inclined to come and join me in a virtual session or a live session to discuss your personal situation, I am a certified integrative nutrition health coach, and I am here to support you. I've got great tools and goodies in my toolkit, and I want to share them with you so that you can use them, so that you can live life optimally and have what you need to pull from at any given moment to help you. So enjoy your day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next optimal living moment. Peace out.